following is a presentation of the Fellowship Church at Anthem, a community of faith, love, and hope. For more information, please visit fellowshipanthem.com.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Hey, good morning, Fellowship family. I'm coming to you live from my home state, right here in the great state of Oklahoma, and taking a Sunday off to just do a little R&R, a little rest and relaxation. We all need that. And stopping off here in Oklahoma, hanging out with my family a little bit. And I wanted you to know today that we are still continuing our series, The Four Agreements, and a great book by Don Miguel Ruiz. Great truth, great understanding about how to live the best version of life possible. And it mirrors so much of the teaching of Jesus. And so for us today, we are moving through this book. We've gone through 3 of the 4 agreements. The first one is to be impeccable with your words. In other words, be on target with what you say. The words that come out of your mouth and the words that go on in your head have to be on target. They have to be consistent with the values you want to represent in your life. Remember, we've talked so much about how your thoughts become your beliefs, and your beliefs then determine your behavior. It all starts with your words. Those words that form your thoughts are what drive your life and what create your life today. So if you're living a life today that you don't wish you were, it's because you were thinking something and speaking something in your mind yesterday that you probably shouldn't have been. And so moving forward, it's about watching what we say, being on target with our words, not sinning with our words, not missing the mark. That's the first agreement, and it's about making those contracts with yourselves that help you become what you need to be. The second agreement was about not taking anything personally. God, that's so hard to do, right? I mean, to actually walk through life and not be offended and not be affected and not be messed up when somebody does something you shouldn't do. Here's the mantra for that. What other people think about me is none of my business. What other people think about me is none of my business. That's such a great truth for our life. If we can live free from the opinions of other people who really don't know anything about our life and who oftentimes are not entitled to tell me how to run my life, it can be great freedom for us. It liberates us from the jail cell of trying to live our life to somebody else's standards, somebody else's opinion, someone else's ideas for what's best for me. So, being free from all of that, it's a great value for us. Don't take anything personally. Somebody says something about you, don't take it personally. That's their issue. It's not your issue. Someone says they don't like you, don't worry about it. That's their issue. It's not your issue. Then the third agreement was not to assume anything. We talked about this last Sunday. Don't assume anything. Oftentimes we rush to judgment about situations, or we rush to judgment about people, and we don't know the whole story. We don't have all the data. And so it really benefits us to step back, to pause, to listen, to learn how to listen, and to open ourselves up to accept other people. It's a great agreement. It's a great way to live your life, not judging every situation immediately, not speaking too quickly, but about stepping back. Well, today is the fourth agreement, and it's such a simple one, but it's such a basic principle of life, and it's the agreement: always do your best. Always do your best. This is where I learned to do it. Growing up in Oklahoma, one of the ethics that's sort of built into the culture here is about working hard. I grew up spending time working on a farm, and I grew up as a teenager with jobs, and always trying to excel and do your best was a part of the culture here. Playing high school and junior high sports is a big piece of the culture in Oklahoma, and learning how to do your best in everything that you apply yourself to, it was sort of built into who I was and built into my family environment, built into the local culture here. And so it's great being back in Oklahoma, kind of being reminded of that. You've probably seen recently the damage that's literally just south of where I'm sitting today that occurred as a result of a tornado in late May. And hundreds and thousands, actually thousands of homes were destroyed. Many families' lives changed forever. And the spirit of the people of Oklahoma and of the nation was focused on helping people rescue and salvage their lives and rebuild. And that really is a part of the culture here. It's one of the reasons why I love my state. I love my people. I love coming back. It reminds me of that spirit inside of this culture that says, always do your best. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like lived out in our lives. Always doing our best. It's so interesting to think about how performance-driven our society is today, and how we judge our success in life by our continual improving performance. And there's value to it, right? There's value to us trying to do better tomorrow than what we did today. And I'm so thankful that, as I journey through life and learning more and more about what success truly is, and as Don Miguel Ruiz says, success is doing your best today, in this moment, just always doing your best. Because some days of our lives, what feels like our best doesn't feel very good, but it might be all we can do for that given day. And so if we measure that performance against what we did yesterday, or if we measure it against what somebody else does or their ability, we might be missing the true sense of success in always doing our best. When we apply ourselves to always do our best in every given situation, it can change the outcome of many situations. It changes who we are, that's for sure. I have the privilege of having in my home a lot of art by a special needs girl. And she's amazing. It's my daughter Abby. She's 14. And so we have art everywhere that she's created. It's stick drawings, it's colorings. Yes, it's even magic markers on the wall, some of which my friend Ian has framed for us because it just seemed right to frame a piece of art that she created on our wall, without permission, of course. But what's so interesting is a lot of those pieces of art to me that maybe a classically trained artist or museum curator would look at and go, that's not art. To me, it's art because it's Abby doing her best to provide an interpretation of her moment. It can be a painting of her family, with mom and dad and brother Brock and sister Beth and kitty Lala. It could be a scene of her friends at school. Everybody's stick figures, but everybody has their own little distinctions. When Abby interprets something that she sees or feels in the world and expresses it on paper, to me it's beautiful. There's an incredible capacity that's demonstrated in the simplicity of what she's able to express. And I know that when she sits down with her pen and her paper at the table and she starts to draw, she starts to paint, she starts to write, she is doing her best. And while it might not measure up to all the other standards of art in the world, to her dad, it's an incredible masterpiece. And so today we're going to talk about always doing our best. It really is one of the powerful agreements that we can come to with ourselves in life that make life function so much better.
So the second agreement is an agreement about action. It's all about doing your best. And it's a powerful agreement for us because it helps us understand that whatever we are doing, whatever we are applying ourselves to, it's about taking the right kind of action that's appropriate for the moment. Now, when you think about action, a couple of years ago, Nike came out with a slogan that was all about action. You know it. Swoop, just do it. And it stuck with us. They spent millions of dollars helping promote their brand, but that little phrase, just do it, stuck in our head because we are by nature people of action. We respect people of action, people that take initiative, people that step out to do something significant. We elevate them. Whether it's an athlete, whether it's someone in business, we honor the action of other people's lives. And oftentimes when we are looking at doing something significant with our own lives, it's helpful for us to find models in our culture, models in our life that give us an example to follow what it looks like to take action. Now, this agreement of action, always doing your best in every single circumstance of life, in every conversation of life, in every moment of life, doing your best. It really is about taking the right kind of action, taking the appropriate action. What is it for us that holds us back at times from taking action? What is it that locks us into a state of inactivity? Well, we've talked about this a lot at Fellowship. It really is that thing called fear. Fear is the most dominant immobilizer of our lives. You've been dreaming for a while and you got some great big dreams that sort of hatched up in your head, and the what if questions came up and your creative juices were flowing, and then the next thing you know, boom, you had an idea, and that idea then is distant from reality by one single thing: it's action. And oftentimes that thing that keeps us in the place of inaction is fear. It can be deadly to our dreams. Now, think about fear. There's a couple different things that can affect us. Sometimes we're afraid we're going to fail. And so consequently, because we're afraid we're going to fail, we won't even take the steps necessary to engage what could be, or what might be, or what needs to be, because we're afraid that we might not be able to do it. Sometimes it's afraid of what other people will think. And this goes right back to our third agreement, which is not assuming anything. It also connects to our second agreement, which is all about not really taking any consideration at all about what other people think. Remember the mantra for the second agreement: what other people think of you is none of your business. Such a great piece for us, for sure. So when you think about fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of what other people will think about you, fear maybe that you don't have enough information, which in today's culture is crazy, right? We have the internet at our disposal 24 hours a day. We can jump online, we can get YouTube tutoring, we can hire a tutor or a coach, we can hire a business development consultant right online. We can get the information we need. Sometimes we're afraid we're going to get hurt. If it's a relational situation, you're trying to take action in a relationship, oftentimes that fear will hold you back. Sometimes we're afraid that we don't have what it takes, that we're going to start a task and not have enough to finish it. Or maybe we're afraid that we're actually going to succeed, and it might put us at a whole nother strata of life, and we won't have what it takes. We're afraid of our own success. A lot of different fears can come into play. What's important is not to ignore the fears. What's important is to move forward through those fears. That's what courage really is. It's about moving forward through your fear. It's not at all about pretending like it's not there. It's not at all about dodging it. It's about saying, you know what, that fear is real to me. I'm going to stare it down, I'm going to look it down, and I'm going to take action anyway. So in this agreement of action, overcoming it is really about overcoming the fear. And the most dominant way to do that is just to keep moving forward through it. Take a step. It can be a small step. Remember, eating the elephant, it's one bite at a time. So it can be a very small step, but that step is necessary to lead me to the next step. And that step will lead me to the next step. It's really all about taking action. Sometimes we're waiting for something to happen for us, right? We're waiting for the magical fairy to step into our lives and to bring the action dust and dust us and hopefully move us into action. But it doesn't work like that. It's about having a clear vision of what you need to do and then doing that thing. Even if it's bite-sized steps, it's about doing what's in your head. So, God is all about being a God of action. We know one of our probably most famous passages of Scripture from the Bible, John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that He gave. He's a God of action. His love was always demonstrated to us by action. So, a couple things today when we think about this agreement of always doing your best that are very, very important. Really, it's sort of centered in two dominant thoughts. First of all, don't do less than your best. No matter what you put your hands to, no matter what you put your heart to, don't do less than what's best. Always giving your best is about not underperforming. Now, sometimes that can be challenging to deal with, right? I mean, we all know what it is to build a habit into our lives of these four agreements and then to practice them so that they do become the dominant foundation from which we're living. And this fourth agreement, this agreement of action, is what puts the other three agreements into place. Using my words well, being impeccable with my words on a daily basis, not making assumptions about life, not taking for granted things and opportunities and situations of life. This is an action-oriented life that we live, right? I mean, you can't just sit back. It's about doing your best with every single part of your life. Life's about growing. It's about changing. It is dynamic by nature. And so for us to be able to engage it well, we have to engage it with the same sort of energy and action that it takes to make life work well. A few years back, most of you know I started trying to work out regularly and get this body in shape and make it live longer and make it work better and all that. And you know what it is to start a new exercise program. Man, it is tough. You go the first day and you are so wiped out. The whole exercise program is about reminding you how out of shape you are. And I mean, in the next 48 hours, every single step that you take is a pain, right? You have muscles that are aching, you have joints that are aching, your body just won't function well. And it's a reminder that you are way, way, way out of shape. And as you move forward through this process of an exercise program, it becomes apparent that there are many days when it's easier to stay in bed, or many days it's easier to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. It's too hard, I'm too sore, I'm too tired. But taking action is what moves us from one level of success to the next level of success. So think about what it is to take action in your life. Think about what it is to always do your best. There's a principle in business in Japan, actually. They have a word for it. It's called Kaizen. And Kaizen means that every single day we are increasing our performance by 1%. It's continuous improvement. What does it look like for us? No matter what job we're doing, whether it's having conversations with our mate, whether it's the way we're raising our kids, whether it's our vocation and the job we have there, what does it look like in every single part of our life to improve it and to increase the value of it every single day, even if just by 1%? To make a commitment to yourself to always do your best is about, yesterday I didn't do as well as I wanted, but today I'm actually going to do better. It's about getting better every single day. So let me give you a couple things today about what it is to always do your best and don't do less than best. First of all, cultivate habits of wholeness. By doing your best, what happens is we begin these habits that form in our life, so that using my words well, being impeccable with my words, or not taking things personally, or not assuming things. The more I practice those, the more they become habits in my life, and the more habits those things take root in my life, the better my life functions. So it's about cultivating those habits of wholeness. Secondly, participate with the process. Listen, there are some days when you've had a long day at work, and the most you can muster when you get home is just a little bit. Just make it your best. You may not have as much today as you had yesterday because yesterday you had more energy, or yesterday you were healthy and today you're sick. It doesn't matter what it is. Always do your best where you are. Even if today's best isn't as good as yesterday's best, let it be what it is. Participate with the process. Don't fight against it. Don't try to do what you're not able to do. Here's the third thing. Practice self-acceptance. When you do your best, learn to accept yourself. Don't try to step back and go, well, you know what, I'm so critical of myself, or I'm judging myself. Accept yourself right where you are. The only way to get better is to accept yourself where you are. If you can't accept where you are, even if it needs improvement, even if you want it to be better, if you can't accept right where you are, there isn't any way to actually improve on that. So, don't do less than your best. Here's the fourth thing, be honest with yourself. When you're not doing a very good job, just be honest with yourself. So, you know what, that wasn't a very good job. But if it's the best you could do for that day, then accept yourself. And then here's the fifth thing, determine what you can do to improve. So to make this particular action in my life better, what's the next step to make it better? How do I improve this? It requires great self-reflection. It requires a level of self-awareness where you step back and you really examine your behavior. You examine your thoughts. You take a look at yourself and you try to figure out, okay, what do I need to really make this good? And what is it going to take for me to go to the next level? I like the passage of Scripture that says, you must love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your strength, and with all of your mind. It's a great passage for us about doing our best, giving our all to God no matter what we're doing. Always do your best, but don't do less than your best. Now here's an interesting point about doing your best, and this is probably where many of us get affected by it. Don't do more than your best. You know, some of you are like, hang on, Ted, I don't even know what you're talking about. How could I possibly do more than my best? Well, don't try to do more than you're currently capable of doing. It leads to so much frustration in our life when we try to do more than we're currently capable. We take any given situation in our life and we become experts at this, right? We're trying to extract the most from it, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a sport, whatever it is we're doing, we're trying to extract the most that we can. And the harder we squeeze sometimes, the more life we extract from it. Not in a good way, because we're actually trying to get more out of it than it has the capacity to give. Boy, I know for me, those moments of life when I'm trying to make something happen that just doesn't have the capacity to do it, and I'm trying to be better than I actually am, I'm trying to take a situation and maximize it to its full potential and even above its potential, and it's not ready yet. Those are incredibly frustrating moments for me. I'm learning more and more that there's only so much life and so much energy and so much production that any one thing can give, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a talk on Sunday. There's only so much that can happen with that. There has to be continual improvement. But if I expect more than it has the capacity to give, or if I expect more than I have the capacity to give, more than my best, that's going to end in frustration and disappointment and eventually resentment and then anger. So don't do more than your best. You've been given certain capabilities and you've been granted by God certain privileges. Don't try to exceed that. It doesn't make sense. You will never be able to give more than your best. So don't try. That only leads to frustration. So give your best. Don't do less than your best. Don't do more than your best. Always do your best. Well, let me wrap up today by just sort of giving us some hope, because I know that all of us deal with failure at times. Even though we might make a commitment to this particular agreement, always do your best, we're going to fail. We're going to have some moments where it just doesn't work. Well, what does that look like? Where does that leave us? How do we deal with that? Well, first of all, don't judge yourself, even when you fail. Even when you give effort or energy and you know it's not your best, don't judge yourself too harshly. God doesn't. There's a terrific passage of Scripture in the Old Testament. I love it so much. It's actually out of the book of Lamentations. And it says, "The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies are never ending. They are new every morning." I love that, because God is a God not just of a second chance or a third chance or a 10th chance or 100th chance. He's the God of a 1,000,000th chance. He's willing to keep loving us and keep working with us even when we fail, over and over and over. Sometimes those repeated failures create the best opportunity for me to learn and grow, as long as I engage them well. And engaging those failures well is not about me judging myself too harshly. It's not about me not forgiving myself when I fail. It's about accepting God's grace and accepting His mercy that are brand new for my life every single day. If you made a commitment to one of these 4 agreements or all 4 of these agreements and you already not kept them, what are you going to do? You're just going to shelve them and abandon it and go, you know what, forget it, I can't do that. Don't give up. Grab them again, take hold of them, and re-engage them in your life. If yesterday you were not impeccable with your words, start again today. If yesterday you were overly concerned about all the opinions that everybody had about you, start again today. What other people think of you is none of your business. If yesterday you made assumptions and judgments about people or situations, and you found yourself just completely out of your mind, worrying and wondering, what are they going to do or what are they going to think? Making assumptions about other people. Clean the slate. God does. Clean the slate. Start again today. Start right now. Start right now. Let today be a brand new start for you. That may be what it looks like for you to do your best today. Begin again right now. Well, guys, these 4 agreements are very powerful in our life. They give us a foundation to live our life that is a terrific model for the teachings of Jesus and the way that He wants us to live our lives. And when we do, we have the ability to bring heaven to earth, to introduce the qualities of heaven, the realities of God's heaven, onto earth right here, right now, today. So I encourage you today to take a little personal inventory of where you're at with your 4 agreements. Are you watching what you say in your mind and what comes out of your mouth? Are you walking forward through your day, every single day, not focused on what other people think, not taking anything personally, not holding on to other people's offenses, but just letting them roll off, forgiving easily? Are you moving forward through every day, not assuming, not judging? What about doing your best? What does that look like today? What does it look like for you right now, this very day? Well, guys, I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday, right back here with the entire Fellowship family. And until then, guys, make a commitment to your 4 agreements. Always do your best.